Thank you so much for coming out tonight. This is such a special moment for all of us at Heath, celebrating 10 years of Tung's design series, and we're really glad you're here to be a part of it. My name is Rosalie Wild, and I lead design here at Heath. That means tiles, dinnerware, seasonal collections, product collaborations, all our communications. We have an amazing team. An amazing team to bring it all to life, including this amazing weekend of events. And Tung is the partner in crime behind all of it. I've been around Heath since Design Series 1. At that time, our tiny team of 3 people worked out of Tung Studio, and because our offices hadn't been built yet. So I think Tung is probably lucky that all 13 of us are not at your desk today. But back then I had a few special years of assisting Tung in photographing all of the works for the first few design series, making sure that we got every design detail captured, every glaze, effect, every storyline each piece. And we had to have images because we let all the pieces go home with, I think, many of you who are here in the audience today. And today I don't get to spend as much up close and personal time with every single piece of his work, but I'm really close to Tung's brain, which is such a wellspring of inspiration and dedication and heart, and really lucky that he's not going anywhere. And I'm really excited to hear this conversation. Thank you, Renee. Renee is a curator and creative director of summer school in San Francisco. And I know that she's going to draw a few more bits of magic out of Tung's hat after 10 years of amazing work. So enjoy, everyone. Thank you. Are we on? Yeah.
Are we on? Can everyone hear us?
Great, wonderful. Well, this is really exciting to be here. The boiler room is such a wonderful space for magic and creative mischief. And welcome, everyone. Tung, for folks who don't know, can you take us through Design Series? Like, what was the inception for this journey, this adventure?
Okay, first and foremost, I'm so glad this will be my last time talking about it. I've been introducing Design Series for 10 years, so this hope will be done. I started joining Heath Ceramics 10 years ago. My goal is to using the skill set I have, that is industrial design ceramics, help Heath to explore what is design in the future. We come out Design Series, which we pick one theme at a time for 1 year, and then explore as wide range of design as possible. And after 10 years, we celebrated 10 themes.
Do you want to, I really liked, you had a quote that this series took you, it connected your hand to your heart. And I feel like in watching this series evolve, I feel like somewhere in the midpoint, like forming fables, I feel like that's when there was a real moment that you were connecting more personally, there was more emotion in the themes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
When I start, I actually thinking Design Series is about trying as much variation as possible. I can approach it like any design, like could be from functional perspective, from like the audience response, how they work. There's a lot of criteria that I'm thinking about how to satisfy and modify a design that can long last. I wear a very traditional industrial design hat. But as I'm moving along, I feel like I'm starting giving myself permission to understand is that there's always a voice behind me, which is kind of Edith, as a grandmother that I never met. She always kind of like talking to me, sharing her thoughts, or I will sometimes ask for approval. But yet at the same time, I started learning is that like beyond just being a designer or someone that like inherited her platform and trying to continue moving forward, my voice is equally important, which is not, I don't often allow myself to do that before. But animal series is something that I didn't expect is that once I started our animal series thinking about, instead of design before was bases, lighting, glazes, learning everything, it's about a physical functional object that was Edith famous for. Animals, I intentionally investigate step what if the play is not functional. What is decoration means? The decoration, the word itself actually don't use within Eve. I decided to invest in the story behind it. Why I love animals, why this animal draw my attention. Think about the animals that have 3 legs dancing around with the spirit that like no difference than any dogs. Seeing the connection with this 3-legged dog with the dog parents really moved me. Then the question asked is that how can I translating this love to become animals, the objects that I want. At the end of the day, once I dipping and diving in to this emotional and trying to representing it, I feel like there is more of me coming inside. And that tool set wasn't in my toolbox before, and I allow myself giving more and more permission. By that time, I hang up the phone with Edith and say, okay, bye. Not talking to you for a while.
I remember we had a conversation and you were saying as an industrial designer and creative, you're really driven by passion. And then through the process of using your hands and making, you were moving forward with love. And that brings me back to Design Series 8, Listen. Can you share a little bit about that?
Design Series 8 come in an odd time. There was a year that, like everything, I planned everything so in advance. That year is going to be doing something else. But we are a surprise element arrived in our life, which is the COVID. Everything locked down, everything shut down, but we know things has to move forward. If as a pathway forward as a manufacturing, we can continue manufacturing. My studio is also continue moving forward. But I just don't have the heart to make what I was planning to do. I just feel like the world is not needing another functional objects that I can sell, people can use at home. Keep asking myself this question, then eventually, at the same time, I started hearing as we going through this pandemic, people started talking about, I wish this year gone by fast. Let's get back to normal. Let's move on. I was like, wait, that's not how we grow. We grow by understanding the trauma that we go through, remembering it, correcting it. I never was a good student, but I realized is that history do taught us something, but as a human, we are really good at forget about it and making mistakes over and over and over again. Then I asked myself, instead of forgetting about this, I want people to understand, look at us, we come through the pandemic, we survived. I can't believe how big the impact that we are facing, but yet how resilient we are to go through this. Then I say myself, I want you to remember how difficult it is, and then eventually I come across this idea that putting a little bit inside the object, which in this case, this is one of them to represent. It's standing by itself, it's just an object. When you pick it up, this sound is what I want you to remember. To remember, no matter it's lost or gained, but that is what I want to invest on this Design Series 8.
Did you know, I mean, was it at this particular time, did you always intend with the Design Series to stop at 10? Or was it as you were going through this kind of arc of your journey, were you coming to this conclusion that, no, I think 10 is when we stop?
I think in the Instagram post I say that I would like to not admit that I'm a nerd that love numbers, but I do. I am a son of 7 children, all boys. I'm the son of the youngest one, 7 of the 7. 7 is my magic number. This collection of 7 is what I'm representing it. 10 is also another number. I wanted to say 10 is nothing big deal, but 10 do powerful. I think each family will agree with me with that one. What I did was that like for the last 30 years, I only celebrating when I turn 10. 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. The rest of them, I care less. Next celebration in 3 years, I will celebrating 60 years. Renee's promised throwing me a party. In this case, 10, why that meaning something to the design series for me? I remember when I was going to college, I already studied 5 years of graphic design, but eventually I decided to go to college to study advertising another 3 years. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I went into campus that same day, the first day of the school. I can't believe I have to go through it again. I stand on the entrance door, close my eyes. I say, imagine 3 years from now, I'm graduating. I'll look at the same view, but that is a different world. 3 years later, I stand on the same spot. I was like, wow, actually 3 years passed by quite well. Nothing to do out of ordinary. This is the tricks that I've been using for a long time. 10 years ago, I set this journey. 10 years ago, I asked myself, the background you see here, the poster from 1 to 10, if I tell you the truth, my whole communication and design department, none of them agree I need to produce something that no one buys. But yet, they're important to me. Each number, each poster representing one little step. I close my eye, I can see this 10 poster, even though the design is not done, but they are there. I want them to be there and representing the last 10 years. And I'm glad to tell you I'm here to show you this 10 years. What can I do, Alex? Is my speaker like my off?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe in my pocket?
Just check the top switch.
This has a light on. Oh, no. Oh, come on. Give me a break. I get through 10 years of this.
So, Tung, do you through this journey, what are some standout memories you have throughout the series?
Well, wait. First and foremost, what I like about this conversation is that 2 hours ago, Renee rehearsed with me. She said everything sounds good. But everything so far, nothing related to the script that we rehearsed 2 years ago.
Well, wait a minute. Tung told me, I don't want to rehearse too much. That's just not how I fly. So it needs to be spontaneous.
That's a good one. Okay, so can you repeat the question? It's not on my agenda.
I think I forgot. Okay. So through this 10-year journey, are there any memorable, were there any free radicals you want to talk about? Were there any things that really delivered and what you were hoping to experience?
Too many. I will tell you I cried 3 times along 10 years because of work. The first time is the first year after the design series. I shouldn't tell you guys, but we actually installed a time-lapse camera on top of the showrooms. By the time the first year the design series done, we replayed it. I'm seeing the 2 hours flying through me in 5 minutes. There was a hive of bees running into the gallery, disappear along with my work. I can't believe the welcoming of that feeling. That was my first cry. The second cry was the second years. I was so focused to finish this set of cylinders that each of them join partial of the bird. When this 5 cylinders, when they spin together and putting on the right location, this bird will reveal itself. I love working at night. I love working until early morning in these hours. I remember the satisfaction of painting the last brush. I put it in a turntable, so allow myself to view this bird and tree when they're overlapping and spinning it. I was satisfying by pulling one piece out and put it on the table. The rest of them collapse and fall everything on the table and crack everything. That was my second cry. The third cry come on the 5th design series, and which is the animal. I worked really hard. I also invest. I didn't name all my animals, but they are my spirit animals. That years, I worked until last minute to create these collections, and I put them all up. The next day, I'm rushing to a sense that I'm putting all up, and then eventually on the showrooms. I remember I was the last one, turn off the lights. I say goodnight to every one of them. The next day, I come back to the show. I lost my voice. I was like, do not get sick, do not get sick. That was the one that I got really sick after the talk. I cannot enjoy the shows. I go home, I slept for 12 hours. I wake up, I cry. Because I never say goodbye to my pieces. But I know now, I know most of them actually belongs to one of you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to come up to your house and talk. If you hear the knocking on the window and someone crying outside, that could be me.
Are we getting filmed right now?
I'm not going to tell you until 2 days later. The NDF is outside. You signed it when you walked through the door.
Well, that kind of brings me to, so the Design Series 10 is living in
The gallery,
gallery
we'll walk
Heath.
over after the talk.
But Present 10, I think, is sweet. I mean, you really have created these time capsules of the entire series is living in each one. And so it is really a kind of diary, a memory of this 10-year journey. Do you want to talk a little bit about the collaborations? And
Sure.
some of that?
I will walk around and then show you guys. Original title of this presentation is called 10-10. I'm supposed to make 10 group of 10 design. When I walk around each year in my studios, I notice is that I sell majority of my collection, they disappear to the world. Those are just prototype, I documented, they can find a new home. But I keep few pieces, a lot of them actually is broken pieces, and some of them is important enough I want to develop as the future of the design. But as I walked around for the last 9 collections in my studio, I was like, wait, besides me, who else in this world own 10 pieces as well? Maybe not, maybe it's one of them. This lady only have 9 so far. So she may run to the other gallery before the talk ends. To see. But my goal all of a sudden is that I know through these 10 years, each design collection pushed me forward and backward at the same time. I learned so much from them. They influencing each other. But what happened if I design all 10 different themes together? When I starting out this project around 2 years ago, I'm thinking about how this form, one single form, no matter a cylinder, can introducing the shape, they can collecting together. But eventually I find that it's not about the design that connecting them. I want them to own and live in one single piece. So in this case, I'm starting using the influence that I travel for the last few years, and then eventually everything that happened around me. In this case, this little piece, I call it treasure. Inside this 10 piece sitting in a wood box that has this odd shape. In China, the wood box like this is everywhere. You can see it in any showrooms that you can see. What happened to here is that Chinese has been developing and collecting antique for long times. All the different era of from 2000 BCs to last 100 years, the shape and size is so different, they're not working well together. In China, what they did is they develop a very specific box to fit all these unique shapes together, become one. In these ideas, I determined that eventually it's about the opposite. I designed the box first. I want to challenge myself by drawing these dividers and eventually how these 10 pieces fit together. I am extremely excited for the last few years. We understand the tree is connected. They're connected by the fungi. They're connecting deeply. They're changing information. They're feeding each other. They're helping out the tree's sibling. The most beautiful story I ever heard. To connect this, I decided it's about the underground. I'm using a CNC plywood. When you CNC out the layer to be producing the bottom, they create this ring that almost mimic like a tree ear. What do you call it? Earring.
Yep.
And I want this to tell that each of them, they individually stand alone, but each of them is connecting below as well. All of them is not sit still. I also like this become a chess set. You can play around. Each of them could be leave whatever way you want. For this guy, there's a lot of them. I need this cheat sheet. When I come back from Japan last May, I realized is that in Japan there's this beautiful wood box that being treasuring ceramics inside. In Japan, what they do is that like the ceramics potters oftentimes make the ceramics, but also uses specific wood to build this box to protecting them. The ingredients outside, like no matter the vessel could be say like wine, so you can tell what is inside. The box will say the name, the maker, the year, so there's a lot of information that is telling you. I'm using this as an inspiration. This 10 box is being stacked as a nice modules. Each design series is written in poem that I wrote. Surprisingly, I come from Hong Kong. I supposed to have a better Chinese than English, but I couldn't write Chinese anymore, so I actually write the English, and my friend in Hong Kong translated for me. And the way she wrote it is also so difficult. It's an old way, almost like Shakespeare's way of writing Chinese. Each of them, instead, I represent a journey, what I learned. In some case, like let's say the first year, I say, I declare I am clay for life, freedom of shaping and reshaping. On 9 years, at the age of 57, I'm still growing. Only wish my belly will not make the exception, will make the exception. On the 10 years, starting is not easy. Stopping is even harder. Let go, start again. So that document the journey, how I go through 10 years. I find it interesting is that glaze is outside, but I'm using the glaze from outside describing inside. The box is about protecting them. In this case, I'm using the box to elevate them. So this inside-outside support and protection is all interchanged to group this piece together. In order to make the 9 number is difficult, 10 fight each other. They are not stacked well. In this case, in order to hide the 9 inside, I stack 2 boxes that producing the shorter height. So I can have 2 boxes to allow the 10th element become the reading lamp. Everything about this is about reading. Inside this box, with this beautiful ribbon with the tie knot, everything come back with the packaging that they come together. As I grow up from packaging and graphic worlds, I believe that is one thing that is not just about advertising. It's something that could be part of everything. The first of the collection, again, to challenge myself is that, okay, like 10 of them in a square, how I'm going to dividing them. That is one of the easy things. But then I ask myself, it's like, wait a minute, you want to think outside the box, but you box yourself in. What does that mean? So in this case, that become the design solution, is that like the light to leave outside, the vessel, you can take it out, but then the flower can go through it. Candles, when it burn, can be burned inside because there's a hole to elevate, or the light will be coming out on the top if you want to place it, or the flower will go through it. So this is my thing, inside and outside the box at the same time. Well, if you guys good at math, help me count how many compartments in this guy. 11. I love number, but I hate rules. I was like, oh my God, if I have to design one more 10 things, I'm going to kill myself. In this case, I'm starting thinking about the journey. 10 years is a long time. I work in my studio alone, but like Rosalie said, I grow up with many people that inspire me. In this case, I want to create an 11 compartment. Originally, it was empty. I want the audience find what you love to complement with my 10-year journey. But eventually, I become a dictator. I selected for you. Akio is my good friend, has been working together for 10 years. I would love that he become part of this collection. He become the center. The truth is, this from left to right, representing 1 to 5, I was contemplating last night. I was like, okay, when I call you friends, where you should be? In a case, he should be on the second year, where I believe that it's become the friendship. One thing I like about this box, that like it was presenting a lot of challenge to fitting all these things together. The sound vessel is here, the box, the planter, everything. But this represents the light. The original concept is that there is a light source will come out, just like the rest of them. But when I was trying to struggle finishing this wood box, I realized that the gesture of the light is better than the light itself. So I just hang it like a bell without the light fixture. There's bright red inside. I left it as if. And then lastly, I call this tree and bird. And tell me again, can you count how many compartments? How many sections?
9.
9. Same idea. Stop doing 10. They represent a brand of tree that being chopped up. Each of them not glazing the top or bottom, representing the lichen glaze is developed on the 4th year of design series about glazing. That become the tree trunk. Each of them representing one story of the design series. Same trunk, they're doing different things. Why 9? Because the bird on the number 5, she don't want to stay in one place. The design is that you can pull this out. There's a simple mechanic that there's a metal belt part in it. Each of them actually has the hole. The bird can choose where she wants to be. In this case, she turned into a woodpecker, and that allows her to become someone else. When she goes with the planter, she actually is looking after her kid, which you see the nest inside. So this becomes the 7th piece of the design series. I call it present tense. I play with the idea that this is present tense, but without the SE on the end. What else, Renee?
What else? I guess sticking with the 10, so we've you've closed the design series, and now you are embarking on the new clay studio in the boiler room, and the boiler room has quite a bit of significance for you. You've celebrated your 50th birthday here and your wedding. So when you close your eyes and you kind of look into the next 10 years, do you have a little vision of that?
I am planning to retire when I turn 70 years old. So if I have to close my eye, dream again, it will be 13 years from now. If I close my eyes, the show that I'm going to do, Renee is still going to be my host next to me. She looked exactly the same, and I was like, what happened? Why you never age?
I love it.
I don't know what is the show look like, but Heath is still Heath. We determine, never change. I myself will be really skinny and fit and look good. My family is still behind me. Okay, let's switch to another topic. And yet, at the same time, the earth will take care of itself. Don't worry about the earth. Human. look out for each other, be kind. I hope that is what I see in 13 years.
Thank you, Tung. Beautiful. Well, I think this is a moment. If anybody has questions, we can open up to some questions.
Ah,
Right. Let me scoot out of
but
the
I
way.
already sold it. Why I haven't sold the rest?
That's why she wants you to talk.
Playing with number, I decided this is nothing but number. A 10 that sit inside a box could be displayed inside, stored inside. This box eventually will close perfectly on top. Aya, woodworker, where's Aya? What? Aya, help us to make many of this beautiful woodworking. This guy is played by number. Here 1, candle holder, 1. Vessel, 2. 3, the rock that has a 4 band. The we from the grizzly bear become the 5. 6, 7 stack of bow. Ear of listen, the sounds come from the shape of 8. Planter has the serrated edge, 9 of them. 10, only reveal the cross of number 10 when you open it. And that is the representation of someone obsessed with numbers. So I would like to hear some of you guys' questions if you have some. Otherwise, party is over. Come on. Well, actually, you guys should ask Renee to tell you a question about her last name. Oh. Renee, can you tell us about a story about your last name? Actually, I'm going to tell it. Renee's last name is Soeger. Renee Soeger. One time she's traveling to a fancy hotel. The front desk insists that like there's champagne, chocolate, and all the luxury upgrade is ready because Renee is arriving. When she say, I am Renee Soeger, no one believe her.
It's true. They thought I was her handler, and I even showed my driver's license and said, no, really, please, I'm not that Renee Zellweger. And they're like, it's okay, you know. There's a private elevator she can access. So.
Did you come up with new glazes for this collection, or did you use stuff from the past 10 years?
Which one sounds more impressive?
Everything. So.
The truth is, many of them, Winnie and I has been working 10 years together. She is my glaze master. And by the way, Winnie just worked here celebrating 49 years. Many of the glaze has been used from the past design series, but except this black group. When I designed this one, the black on black representing this, even though each individual is being separate, but they are together. So, but each of them still, the gradient, the black from the bottom is transitioned to a slight tint of color, representing individuality. On the other hand, there's a new technique that we developed is the writing on top. That become a disaster, even though I feel comfortable about writing Chinese calligraphy, but it was really challenging to writing when the clay is powdery form to have the brush guide through it. So those are the new ones. Sounds impressive enough? Okay.
Don't look at me that way.
What's up, dude?
I'm trying to figure, I have two questions, but I'm going to try to figure out which one to ask. What will you do beyond the show tonight and the celebratory sort of environment it will have, but what will you do on your own to celebrate, sort of reflect, and sort of catch your breath after this?
We will have a dinner tonight. Reservation is already made. You are not invited. But I always think about this way. The reason I cry after the design series is I cannot think about it. This is not the moment that I feel pressure, surprise, or emotion connect to the work. It's not easy to see all this work go in the same night. If I have to keep thinking about it, it will be really hard for me. But yet, at the same time, I think I enjoy most is I will clean studios again. For the last 3 months, it was messy. And then yet, at the same time, I think like most treasures will be spending time staying down with 2 of my dogs. My husband, that will be what I care most. Any other questions?
Which of these pieces was the most challenging to make and why?
To sell this group, I have to say this group now. Animal group was challenging. I am a 2-dimensional designer. Working as a potter on the wheel is the best gift I ever give to myself because it's a single curve that evolves around the wheel. That is really easy for me to do and see. Seeing animals in a 3-dimensional world to make it is not as comfortable than I hope to. But yet, at the same time, the pain in the ass that I caused myself this year is making the design series 10. The reason is that, like, when you're making a leading objects, 2 of them fitting together, the show that you see, I almost make double of them because they crack one side, the other side doesn't work. They didn't fit well together. So meeting multiple pieces is not a great idea. Don't do it. Husband is not allowed to ask
I want to know if you're taking me out to dinner tonight. Am I on the reservation list?
But
That's my question.
you have to understand, usually when he asks question at this hour is what's for dinner.
You haven't talked at all about the open and close series. Can you talk a little bit about the open and close series, or are you going to talk about it over there?
I cannot quite hear the question.
Are you going to talk about the open and close series over there, so we have an idea?
We will go over there and we will talk.
Okay,
So
cool.
what happened after this in a few minutes when we are done here, please walk outside around and go to the showrooms. I will have the presentation of the other one. It will be really short one, I promise, only about a few minutes to greeting that part of the audience, and then eventually those will be for sale and ready. So we'll talk about this when we get over.
So when are we going to come back here and look at these?
Never. So tonight, these studios is going to keep open. The 2 locations will be keep open at the same time. So while you're enjoying things, seeing on that side, you can come back, you can continue the showroom, and this space is closed around 7:30. This collection we're going to stay up for 7 days. And for the people that you can't see it today, people can come in tomorrow and Sunday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when this space opens as well. Well, thank you so much.